I am a licensed real estate agent, for those of you that don't know me, in the state of Minnesota. I've been doing a lot of these restreams or these live broadcasts up until about 7 months ago. I started dabbling with Reels on Facebook, and that has been really good. It has brought a lot of attention to myself with my business. And it's just quick little clips to help you as a buyer or seller understand things that are going on in the market, problems that I see, scams, all of that good stuff. But I realized that I missed this longer format. And for those of you that are willing to stick with me or watch this after it's over, I hope to give you some original content that will be valuable for you if you are interested not only in buying or selling a home, but just interested in what's going on with your home from an investment standpoint. Most of us, the largest investment we'll ever make is purchasing our home more than anything else. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in the market right now and let you know where we stand. And I'm going to try and do some of these restream things also for photography, because a lot of you follow me because of my Three Sides of the Coin podcast, as well as some of my other real estate podcasts, and also just my photography in general. I was out in Joshua Tree over the weekend in LA, which was a whole nother conversation, but amazing. But at least today, let's talk about what's going on with real estate. For those of you, just in case you need to know, if this isn't something that is interesting to you, then obviously you just click off of it, you move on with your day, and you're doing something else. The biggest culprit right now is the interest rate. And I always say that the devil's in the details. The interest rate is always the problem because it determines what's going to happen to you for the next 30 years from a payment standpoint if you were to stay in your home that long. So prices are one thing, interest rate is another. So if we rewind the clock a little over a year ago, our interest rates were at about 4-ish%, sometimes lower, sometimes a little bit higher. Right now, as of today, the 6th of November 2023, we have a current interest rate of 8.281%, which is the highest that we've seen in, I don't know, probably 2 decades. It's crazy. And I want to show you how that affects buyers and sellers. So I'm going to give you 2 different examples. The first one is, let's say you were looking at a townhome for $300,000. You put down 5%, which is $14,995, which leaves you a balance of $284,905. Now, this is without closing costs. I'm not going there. I'm just literally talking about payment. At the current rate of 8.281, when you factor in your monthly taxes, as well as your association fee, because on condos and townhomes, you got an association fee, your payment is $2,724 a month, which at least at this point is higher than the average rent in Minneapolis for, or I should say the Twin Cities metro area for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. At $2,724, it's just too much of a stretch for a lot of people, especially new home buyers. Now, let's say you take that same sales price of $300,000 and you put down 5% again, but your interest rate is at 5% rather than the 8.28%. Your total payment per month is $2,106. So the difference between those 3 or 4 points in your interest rate make up almost $700 difference each month. Now, the upside to owning a home, for those of you that may not know, over, say, rental, is you get some great tax benefits. You get to write off all of your interest and all of your taxes on your yearly income taxes, which will bring down your taxable income and save you, I don't know, you have to, depends on what situation you're in, tax bracket, but at least $3,000-4,000 a year that you wouldn't get even with a rent back. Now let's go a little bit higher. Let's say that you have a sales price of $550,000 and you're putting down 10%, because usually people that are moving to their 3rd or 4th home have a little bit more down from their equity in the sale of their last house. So let's say you put down $54,900 on a $550,000 house. You're left with about $495,000 in amount owed to the bank. At 8.186, because it's literally shifted a little bit here in the last 10 minutes. Your payment with taxes and interest and principal and all that would be $4,301 a month. That's a big nut for a lot of people every month. And that's just your house payment, it includes taxes and insurance, but still, that's a lot of money. Now, if you take the same scenario at a 5% interest rate, your payment drops to $3,261 a month. So you save almost $1,100 a month. That's how big of a deal 3% of an interest rate is. So when you're looking at these different things, and you have to say, okay, well, then where's my value? What do I do if I'm a buyer or a seller? Sellers have to just ride the wave. You have to wait it out. That's just, unfortunately, the best I can give you, at least at this point. I'm not saying you can't come up with some creative ideas. I'm working with some of my sellers on buy downs and some different things like that to incentivize buyers to come look at the house and purchase. So there's always more you can do from a marketing standpoint, but I don't necessarily believe that you just drop your price, because all that then becomes is a race to the bottom, because it may not be the price of the house right now. The problem is the interest rates are so high, most people can't afford that. With the buyers, you may have a very unique opportunity over the next 2 to 3 months. Now, it's going to be an election year. Every time an election year comes up in the 20 plus years I've been doing this, rates always improve. Gas prices go down. Everything looks wonderful. It's amazing how they can all fix every problem there is practically in Washington for us when it's an election year, but then it goes to hell after that. So having said that, we're still about 6.5 million houses short of the demand, meaning that depending on who you believe and which economists you read and follow, the builders could build 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's going to take them anywhere from 3 to 5 years to catch up with the demand. When you don't have a lot of homes for sale, then that tells me the demand is still up as well. So how do you navigate that as a first-time, second, or third-time home buyer? You got to play the averages, and you have to look for the sweet spot, because there's one in every single market. And this is what I'm going to get you to think about. I just literally sent an email to all of my clients this morning with the information I'm sharing with you right now. When interest rates start to come down, people will start to pay attention again. Whether the house prices change or they stay the same or they go up, the interest rates, like I mentioned earlier, really control everything. So if the interest rate starts to come down, what point do they have to come down at from 8.2% to get people to go, oh my gosh, I've got to buy now? My guess or gut would be once they hit the sixes, certainly once they hit the fives. So how do you position yourself? Well, one of the things you can do is you can do a buy down, where you can buy your interest rate down on the mortgage of the purchase of the new home. But the problem with that is it's a band-aid on a gunshot wound. It buys you 0.5% for a sizable amount of money that will save you a little bit at the beginning. I would say to you, rather than do the buy down, maybe you consider saving that money for a refinance. We're still back in that position where I'm going to say, marry the home, date the rate. Meaning when you find the house that you want, purchase it. When the rates come down, you refinance, and you're going to be that much farther ahead, because the money you would have spent to save 0.5 percentage point in your payment right now will probably fund or close to fund a refinance for you. So you're going to get so much more bang for your buck. And look at the difference in those two examples I gave you. You're talking anywhere from $300 a month up to over $1,000 a month, depending on how much you owe. So it seems like the better strategy would be to do something like that. So then in the long term, you're getting back into the market before the interest rates go down and balance out. Because I think once they get to a certain point, which is the area we don't know, and we don't know when it's going to happen, that will be in a position where all of a sudden now you're going to have all these buyers jumping in at the same time. Well, if they all jump in at the same times and the rates drop, we could be right back to where we were 2 years ago, where you've got all of these buyers out scrambling to purchase homes because there's a limited amount out there because we have a shortage. And now you're going to be paying 20, 30, 40, 50 grand again over list price just to get into the house. And I think too many people have given up different things from inspections and other types of concessions that should have never been given up in the first place. So it's kind of one of those things where I want you to just think about, okay, if I'm going to make a move in 2024, whether it's to buy or sell or do both, strategy is always something that's really important. That's where my value is. Anyone can find you a house. Anybody can set you up on a search on the MLS. And most people like to look at stuff themselves because let's face it, as real estate agents and as an industry, we've given you guys everything now. You can look at videos, photos, descriptions, taxes, past sales. You can see everything that anyone can see now, including all real estate professionals. My value is guiding you through this mess to make sure that A, you end up with a great house, B, you don't overpay, and C, you're cared for from beginning to end. And on the other side of the coin, not letting you sell the house for too cheap and take too big of a hit, get the best price you can for it, and help make you walk away from that sale with as much money in your pocket as you can. And that just doesn't happen by accident. You have to strategize. You have to talk about what if scenarios so that when something comes in front of you, you've at least talked about it to go, okay, this is kind of how I feel about the way I'd like to go. So this today is more of a message to you to think about next year and what you're doing moving forward. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. You can email me, whatever you like. If you have questions regarding real estate, or if you would like to have a market done on the home to give you some indication of what you're looking at for value, that would be great. I don't foresee a huge foreclosure market, nor do I see a short sale market because most people have equity in their homes. And so even if homes drop by a certain percentage, I don't believe the market is going to be wiped out. And I try to be a student of this profession of mine, and I read a lot. And I'm trying to get different points of view from different areas of the country to try to cobble together some type of an idea which way we're headed, and which also includes our meetings. So that's what I wanted to leave with you today. And I'm going to try and do this a little bit more often because I realize that the short little minute clips are great when you have a short attention span, but I'm not getting you the meat that I want to give you, and I can through these streams. So I hope you find it valuable. Please leave comments. I will definitely follow up on every single one of them. And please share this stream if you think for some reason this might be something that would work really well for a friend or a family member. Again, Tom Summers, Coldwell Banker, Minneapolis, St. Paul metro area. Hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for taking time.